Hi guys, welcome to a new video of Entertainment Train and a new episode of Box Office Talks. Today I'm going to talk about the top 5 box office draws in the US. I'm gonna start with the new releases. We have Game Night. Game Night was a very good film. It has a B+ on Cinema Score, I think an 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. Which is fairly good. I think the movie was better than a B+, if you ask me. It was a very, very funny comedy, and we don't have a lot of very funny comedies nowadays, so I was very pleased with this one. Annihilation, have not seen it yet. It's not out in the US yet. In the Netherlands yet. It is out in the US, but I probably won't be able to see it till April, which is really stupid. You know, why delay that release date to April? Makes no sense. So 50 Shades on the 5th place. I hated that film. I hate the whole franchise, but I hated this film a lot. The 50 Shades Darker one, the second one, was funny because it was a comedy for me. You know, it was presented as a drama, but it was a comedy for me. This one, 50 Shades Freed, was better in terms of acting and script, which kind of made it more boring. You know what I'm saying? Because they took themselves way too seriously, and in the second one, it felt like they were going to a certain path where they could see themselves as a sort of parody of romantic comedies. This was really bad. Hated this film. We'll give it a 1 out of 10. Horrible. And Jumanji on number 6. Yeah, let's talk about that. So Jumanji has a budget of 90 million with a box office that will probably will it reach 1 billion? I don't know, but it will reach I think about 950 million, which is amazing for a film that's only has a budget of 90 million, which probably means it will have a profit of about 700 million, because normally when we talk about profits of films, normally you have a production budget of 90 million. We have a marketing budget that reaches the same amount as the production budget, and we have to talk about distribution as well, which is normally about half of the production budget. So we have to get the production budget to 2.5 times that amount to break even, and of course it did. To make some profit, and 700 million in profits is amazing for a film that's not even connected to any franchise. It just had a film before with Robin Williams, if you remember that film. I have not seen it, but I really like this film though. It was very funny. It's a very moderate good time in the theaters, and Game Night was funnier though. Just my opinion. But yeah, let's talk about the main. I have not seen Peter Rabbit, by the way. I don't care for animations that are not made by Disney or Pixar. I'm sorry. The last few animations that were good were of those companies. And the films I gave a chance that were not from those companies is like Life of Pets or something. Didn't care for that film. Have I seen other ones? I don't think I have. Coco was amazing. Coco was really good. So no, I've not seen any other animations apart from any animation from Disney or Pixar. And I will stay by that statement till I see other good animations that people are raving about. Cuba and the Two Strings. That was a really good one. But that's an exception. Okay, let's talk about the main story. Black Panther, a 10-day haul of 400 million domestically. What? 400 million. It outdid Star Wars: The Last Jedi. After the huge hype it got from the wait a second. Background change. After the huge hype it got from Force Awakens. Um, so I'm quite impressed. And the two questions that popped in my mind were how is that possible? And what's next? What is next? So how is it possible? I think because the film is good, because it's creating a movement for the black community. It's saying we can make a film with an all black cast, not make it about slavery, not make it about the tough life in Harlem, making a story that's not based on those two factors, you know, and still make the movie feel like it's a movie that's connected to their roots. This film is for everyone because it's a good story. That's why people want to see this film. It's not only because of the whole thing of the whole all black cast and everything and all black writers. That's very good that that's happening, but it's a good story as well. It's a really really good story, and it's an compelling story. It's an interesting story. It feels like an MCU film, but not one that's produced out of a machine. You know, I felt like Guardians of the Galaxy was a machine film. Like it was like, we have comedy, yes, okay. We have some new characters, yes, of course. We have some pop music to throw around, yes. We have some colorful palettes, yes, okay. Then we're good, you know. And this film for me was a film made for it being a good film. Like the questions were different. It was like, do we have a good writer? Do we have a good story? Have we created the right cinematography that fits with the story? Um, are we doing the stuff, you know, that will attract a certain audience? Are we doing them justice? You know, it's the same as making a film about a place in India, and I'm an Indian, um, and only talking about poverty, only talking about the rapists and blah blah blah, and never talk about the actual culture and about the clothes they wear over there, or the sheer happiness that happens when Diwali is on its way, or Holi is on its way. Um, so, you know, talk about that, celebrate the culture instead of bringing it down. And I think that's happening with this film, um, which is making me very, very happy. Um, Now let's talk about the top five openers and what this film is doing in comparison to that. The top five openers are, of course, Avengers. We have Force Awakens, that's quite unbeatable in every single way. We have Jurassic World, and we have Star Wars Last Jedi. Um, this film is beating three out of four of those. Three out of four of those are going to be unbeaten. Beaten or beat? No, it's beaten. Right? Yes. Don't correct me. Okay, they're going to be beaten. The Star Wars Force Awakens is quite ahead because it's quite simple. The hype was huge. It transcends age because it's for kids, it's for young adults, it's for adults, and it's for elders. Because elders remember that film, remembering that Star Wars: A New Hope was very much a huge progress in cinema itself, and they remember that. They think about how magical the film was, and this film, for me, does bring it back to that magic, where it's not at all convoluted. It's just a simple story about a certain amount of characters, and it just wants you to make you smile and let you be interested in the characters. And maybe Last Jedi ruined that for some people. It didn't for me though. I think they made a lot of bad decisions, but it didn't ruin it for me. But that makes for the huge drop off for Last Jedi on the second weekend for sure. But for Star Wars Force Awakens, the drop off was so little, for not even 40%, which was quite an accomplishment. And Black Panther can simply not get to that point yet because the character wasn't as well established yet. And I think with this film and with the franchise, it can eventually do or make this character more appealing, will eventually lead to it being more loved than any characters in Star Wars. Maybe, you never know. Um, but it's quite an amazing success they have in their hands right now with Black Panther, and I think they will um, really use this character in a good way in every film coming forward this time around. Um, and you know what? I don't think Marvel is that surprised about the success because they put 200 million in this film. 200 million, that's 25 million short of Avengers. So they put less in Ant-Man, they put less in Thor, they put a lot in this film, and I think they were, you have to break even with the production budget times 2.5, right? So they were expecting at least 500 million, which isn't a lot for an MCU film, that's for sure. But I think they were expecting a lot of people to show up for this film, and they did, and that's what makes it such a success. And I think I hope this movie keeps doing very well. I don't see any way of them stopping going to the movies right now. The urge to see this movie over and over and over again is so big. Like, I've seen it already 3 times in theaters, and I can't wait to see it the fourth time and the fifth time. I'm sure I will see it at least five times in theaters. It's such a good film. And it really transcends color at this point. I'm so happy this movie is doing so well. It means a lot to a lot of people, and I think they will continue to make films like this, where color isn't really an issue at all. It's the story they want to tell. It doesn't matter who you cast. If the story is right with the right cast, it can be an actual gem, just like Black Panther. So I'm very happy with the numbers. I'm not even surprised anymore that it's beating every other film except for Star Wars Force Awakens. And also, just look at the amount of theaters still, that it's so little in comparison to the rest. And it's just killing it. It's killing it. The urge to see it again and again is huge. The hype is huge. The Rotten Tomato score is at 97%. What else can you say about this film other than it is amazing? And I can't wait right now for Infinity War, because if they only put like 10% of that effort, what they put in this film, into Infinity War, we're gonna see quite an amazing year for MCU films. Because I really like Thor Ragnarok. Love this a bit more in terms of at least story, not in action particularly, but in story and characters for sure. And I hope Infinity War combines the action they gave a Thor Ragnarok and the story and characters and effort in costumes and set pieces, etc., on Black Panther, and combine a perfect film. And I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will, because it's the Russo brothers. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.